Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Lili Nishmasi Mimurosi Ruspas Mordechai. I want to tell you about this unbelievable picture. It means a lot to me. Here we have three gewaltige geschmacke guys. Shiva man. From Ramat Eshkol, we have Yaakov laying Uri Stern and Duvi Spiro. Uri Stern happens to be like the executive director or something like that in the Mir Yeshiva in Yerushalayim. Regular, normal guys. They decided to do a not such normal thing, and that is to open up a stand in the middle of Ramat Eshkol and give out Gemaras. They got on a Friday, and a rainy Friday, 28 people to join the shir. Here they are. Incredible. Sometimes people go out of their comfort zone. Rabbi Sai, here's the Montreal. See him? Beautiful. I think it's their second one. Set up really nicely. You can see in this picture right over here. Very nice. Noam, what is JEC? I don't want to sound like an Amaritz, but what is JEC? Good morning, Reb Eli. I started encouraging my peers in the JEC Mesechta High School. Doesn't say what city.
JEC is there are lots of JECs.
To join the MDY family before we started Mesechta Megila. Baruch Hashem.
Jewish Educational Center.
I had a lot of success. Yesterday, myself and 20 guys were Messiah Megillah. We are learning Megillah in Bekiyas this year, so it's amazing Chazara. But hopefully, we'll all continue doing the Daf Be'ez Hashem and finish Shas with you. Amen. We'll have so much Akar Satoiv. You're elevating our everyday lives and giving us such a unique excitement over Limud Torah. Our yeshiva generously sponsored this wonderful siyum. Have a wonderful day. The JEC Chevra. Here it is. The JEC Chevra. Could be in New Jersey. Nachum spoke only Hebrew. He taught himself English and now learns with Reb Eli every day to increase his fluency. Some people learn to learn Shas. Some people learn to increase the fluency. It has different effects on different people. Here's Reb Nachum. This is in Toronto, Rabbi Planka. The Siyum in Toronto. I think I have another picture of the island. There's over 60 people in Toronto. Yeah. They had to go undercover or something. Here we go. Beautiful. Sushi, the works. And Shalom Rand. Take a look at this. MDY. So this is on our website, merch. Not this particular one, something similar. It says done. MDY and then done on the other side. But this is really nice. So from Toronto. Toronto Siyum. This is North Woodmere. Check this out. First of all, North Woodmere, they got their cake going. Beautiful cake. Art Scroll Gemara with some MDY logo. And then the Woodmere. Very nice. What else do we have here? Oh, this is a beautiful thing. Below is our scene at home in London. I listen to your advice and sometimes make it at home to have a good impact. I believe Be'ez Hashem, fine. I've now been to 3 siyum of MDY in London. The first 2, I barely learned a few daf. As you mentioned, be part of it, it will become part of you. Baruch Hashem, the 3rd siyum Megillah, I finished the Mesechta. Because at MDY, it's about going forward, and it proved successful. A warm shout out to Yanki Lebovich for just joining the shir at Chrome Connections Plumbing Services. We don't advertise there at Chrome Connections Plumbing Services. But he just joined the shir. Eli Grossberger, I love it. So here he is. Instead of going to the siyum in London, once in a while, you got to be mechazik the mishpacha. Here he is with his young children, making a siyum. It's beautiful. Making an impact. Today's shir is sponsored, the koilel, I should say, is sponsored by Chayim. And today's shir, Lilu Nishmas Yeshua Aryeh Lev HaKohen Ben Yonis and Chayim Zechron Levracha L'Refuah Tzididenu Reb Shalom Baruch Yehuda Ben Malka Freda. Mesechta Moed Katan is dedicated by the Kessler and Davis families. By the Kessler and Davis families, Refuah shleima for Miriam Esther, Bas Devora bekorov, Eliyahu Ladell, Lilu Nishmas Ben ציון Eliyahu Berev Yackov, which is his great uncle, I believe, who gave him a shas 58 years ago, and he's learning shas with it. Yaakov Kelner and Moshe Sommers, in honor of Yudi Silber's first siyum with MDY, Mesechta Megila. Keep on daffing. Beautiful. Somewhere around here. Oh. Okay, so today is Daf Hey. And we will start from the last words on Daf Dalet Amud Beis. Umisaknin es kilkulei hamayim shebishus harabim. By the way, a Freilich and Tisha, Tu B'Shvat, Tishabot. Kilkulei hamayim. So you have a little bit of a, when you go in Europe sometimes, I don't know, like next to the Alps over there, like in Italy and in Switzerland, you see it sometimes. They have like these cisterns that hold water. You could drink water. They used to drink from it. So you got to take care of this. If it has dirt, you have to take care of the dirt. People drinking water. Says the Gemara as follows. Chatita in. You're permitted to clear it out, to get rid of the debris. Chafir loy, to dig a brand new pit for water, not allowed. Amud Aleph. If it's necessary for the community, then you could dig out a brand new one. So Rabbi say, let me show you what we have here for a second. Let's try to do the sugya a little bit beforehand, a little bit about peh. Basically, we have two brises, the blue and the green. I'll tell you the maskana of the Gemara, make it very, very simple. It's a simple sugya. The maskana of the Gemara is that this brisa right over here is talking about just cleaning. And it says that an individual cannot clean out his pool of water, and the rabbim could. And we're going to say that is, watch this, check this out, it's very geschmack. This goes over here, this goes over here. This makes more sense now. Yachid chaytet, rabbim chayfrim. When there's a need, you dig. When there's no need, then the yachid cannot, the rabbim could still clean. That's the maskana. Yachid loy, yachid yes. Why yes? Because there's a need. Why no? No need. But even the rabbim, they could dig when there's no need, when there's a need. Fine. Now, here's the problem. The problem is, yeah, you want to see it again?
Made it easier?
No, it's going to make it easier soon. Fine, we'll take it off. The problem is this, right over here. Over here it says that a yachid and rabbim could clear out, and over here it says that even the rabbim cannot dig. So something's wrong with this brisa. We're going to have to fix this brisa. We're going to have to take care of this brisa. These are good. This one is a little bit awkward, and we're going to have to fix it. So here's the halacha. First, the halacha. It could have been good if I didn't mess it up, but now that I messed it up, it's not so good. Okay. Hold on a second. I hope this is still on, recording. Great. Says the Gemara. Honor of Yackov, Honor of Reb Eli comes to Reb Eli, lo yishonu ela she'ein rabbim tzrichim lehem, aval rabbim tzrichim lehem. If there's a need, afilu chafira mutter. So you see over here, that's what we're going to say at the end, that the rabbim need it, sarich, chafira is mutter. Great. Ask the Gemara, v'chi rabbim tzrichim lehem mishari. Why is that okay? Even if the rabbim need it, how is that possible? Latanya. And that's this brisa right over here. And this is the problem. But at the end of the Gemara is going to say that these are the real brises. These are true. We just have to fit the red into the blue and the green. So what's a bar shiach umara? Just so we know what the words mean here. They're the same. They basically hold water. All three of them. A bar is a well. A shiach is an elongated, rectangular thing. Amara is a cave that holds water. So, you're allowed to clean out a bar shiach umara shel yachid if it belongs to the individual. And of course, if it's for the public. So we have a brisa that says you cannot dig. My love. So we'll put this over here. Even though it's tzarich, you can't dig. And over here it says tzarich, you could dig. Says the Gemara. So we're going to take this off. It's talking about you don't need it. Fine. You don't need it. We're going to put this over here. Boom. So now we have loy tzarich. That's why you cannot dig. The reason why loy chayfer, loy tzarich. But in the case that you need it, it's going to be chayfer. Says the Gemara, okay. So this loy tzarich goes even up here. The individual doesn't need it. Well, individual doesn't need it. He could go and clean out his pool. He doesn't need it on Chalamayit. He could go dig it out. As the Gemara, Mishari, is that okay? Vatanya, boyrois, shichnu marshal yachid, kansamayim l'toichan, avloi choytin, v'loi shafim istidkayim. So now we're going to move over to this, to the blue, to show that if a yachid doesn't need it, he's not permitted to clean it out. It says, Mufurish in this brayso, yachid loy choytit. He cannot. What does it say in the brayso? If he has an individual pool, he could gather the water. You cannot clean it. That's what it says in blue. You can't clean it. If it has a little bit of a crack, you can't put cement in there. You can't plaster it. But if it belongs to the public, then you can clean it out and you can fix the cracks. Okay, so we have a problem. Over here, it's loy tzarech, and it says yachid cannot do it. And over here it says loy tzarech, a rabbim could clean. So we have a contradiction here. What? Yachid. Ve'lamai b'shiyachid tzarech lem. So you're going to tell me that this brayso red, he needs it. Okay, the kavasa gabi rabbim shirabbim tzichalem. So then you have to take this off. This guy comes off. This guy goes back on. And now we have a problem, a different problem. Tzarich, that's why the yachid could clean, because it's tzarich. But then how come the rabbim can't dig? And over here we saw rabbim could dig. So this tzarich is a problem. Says Gemara, where are we? The green, it says mefurish, you could dig. You can't smear lime in it, in the whole thing. And here it is. The rabbim, you could dig. And over here we're saying, rabbim, you can't dig. So you're going to have a problem with the first brayso, the red. Maybe you'll answer like this. I think I missed the question on the way, but okay. We'll pretend that we said everything. So Gemara says like this. So one thing is clear right now, that when there's no need, the rabbim could clean, the yachid cannot clean. And when there's a need, the rabbim could dig, and the yachid could clean. The problem is, how do we fit it into the red? So here's how we're going to do it. It's going to be two parts. How do we fix the first price? This is what we must say. You're permitted to clean out. This is tzarech. So, here, we're going to do this. Put this over here. When a yachid needs it, tzarech, then he could clean. And of course, if the public needs it, then of course you could clean. Then even the public could dig, and that's like Rabbi Yochanan, that was Rabbi Yochanan's halacha, that when the public need it, they could even dig. However, the second part of the brayso, so now we're going to put this loy tzarich right over here. When it's a loy tzarich, then the rabbim don't even dig, and the yachid certainly can't dig. When there's a tzarich, the first part, so you have to add a couple of words to make this fit in with blue and green. This is problematic. It needs a little fixing. It's like a chsur mechser, exactly. When there's no need, you can't even do the simplest of the simple. You can't even clean it. Forget about digging. That's it. That's the whole thing. So nachamol. This brayso that only talks about chatita, doesn't even talk about chafira, is talking about in a case where there's no need. No need, you're robbing, you can clean. Yachid, you can't clean. When there is a need, in green, everything is a need, so then Rabbim could even dig. Yachid could even clean. And this brayso just fits into these two perfectly. Omer Vashi, Masnisin Nami Daika. I can prove from our Mishnah. You can do anything that has to do to the public. Call Lasuyimai. Anytime the Mishnah uses that wording, call Tzorchei Rabbim. The Mishnah enumerates some of the stuff. So what else does it come to add with the word call? Lasuyimai, Lav Lasuyi Chafira. L'chayr, it's talking about even to dig to begin with, to make a brand new well, you're permitted if it's for the tzibur. Says Gemara Loi, Lasuyi Hadasanya. This is just a try. This is the Gemara trying to see if you're paying attention. Loi, Lasuyi Hadasanya Yoitzim Lekavitz is Adrachim. Kavitz is a lashon of kites. Kuf Vav Tzadik. So you could go and remove the thorns from the way. Well, the sakinas are chayvais and fix the roads, vesaistratois in the streets, velomeris hamikvais, and see if the mikvahs, it's Bezdin's job to make sure, it's like the city. Bezdin is the city. Like today we have people in charge. In those days also. Bezdin made sure that every mikvah has enough water, it didn't dry up, every street doesn't have weeds, they bring the gardening crew through. We had the other day, they go through fields and make sure there's no klayim. It's their job. If there's no water, you bring water. How do you bring water to mikvah? You can't carry it in a pail because then it's shuvim. So what do? You open up the natural sources, you open them up, and they flow right into the mikvah, says Rashi. Amas hamayim. Listen to this, Rabbi Isai. If Bezdin was lazy and didn't clear the path, if somebody died on the path, so some of you might have on the side the Ksav Yad of Rashi. Some people say that's the real Rashi. What we have is not a real Rashi. Some people say that because it doesn't fit in with many of the Rashis in Shas. If you don't have it, you might have it in the back of your Gemara like I have. I checked it out. Rashi in the back over there says that if you don't clear the path and somebody's chasing, let's say a non-Jew is chasing a Jew through the street, and he trips over one of the thorns and they catch up to him and they kill him, it's on you. You should clear the thorns. And by you not clearing the thorns, it's your problem. Ki'ilu heim shafchum. Tamuloymar v'hoya olecha damim. I saw once a crazy story. I don't know how authentic it is, but it's a good mashal to this, what's going on here. There was a one-way street that many people would drive through the one-way as a shortcut. It helped them out a lot. And there was always a cop hiding there at the end, trying to catch people. So one of the Chachmei Chelim that lived on the street, he devised an idea. He says, if there's a cop, he'll put out a red blanket on his porch. And like this, the drivers from the neighborhood knew not to go through that one-way street. One day, a guy was speeding down the street, and he hit a kid, and he killed the kid on the one-way. They took him to court, and it turns out that the kid that he killed was the son of the guy that put the blanket out. And he said in court, the reason why he was speeding is because he didn't see a blanket. There was no red blanket that day. In other words, sometimes when you put the michshol, you put out the red blanket. You cause people to go down the one-way street. It comes back around to hit you. It's on you. Says the Gemara, nice try. You thought we weren't paying attention. That the word call comes to say that on Yontif, on Chalamayid, you're allowed to go and clear the ways for the rabbim, etc. We learned that in the first mission of our Mesechta. On Chalamayid, you're allowed to fix the mikvah. You're allowed to fix the street. So it can't be that the word call comes to tell you a chiddush. So now, it's just to make sure that you don't think that that's the pshat in call, because that's mufurish in the Mishnah. Going back to the original, the word call comes to say that you're permitted to dig a bar, a well, on Chalamayid, L'chatchila, when it's brand new, a brand new well. Okay. Zok the Gemara. Mitzaynim sakvaros. Omer Reb Shimon ben Pazi remez l'tzion kvaros. So, just to remind everybody what the picture looks like, if you go to Tzvat, you see it all the time. Mitzayim sakvaros is marking or demarking the kvarim, putting a blue, here in Eretz Yisrael, they put blue paint. In Beit Vegan, they used to have the caver of Unkelos Hager. It was beautifully painted with blue, and many people went and davened there and cried on the caver of Unkelos Hager until they found out there was a few yeshiva bachrim that were bored one night. They bought blue paint and they painted a churva in Beit Vegan. There's another mice actually. This one is crazy. You can look it up on Google. This is the famous caver of Shimon HaTzadik. And it says on his caver, Mesirato ba'avodah hovila otanu b'derech, which is a very strange lashon for a caver. His mesiros for work led us on the path. Turns out that this is a caver of a horse. It's in an article in the newspaper. People went to daven there. A guy has a joke. He buried his horse and he put on the thing, this horse slept so much, it brought us to a lot of nice places. But it's not the famous Shimon HaTzadik that we have in Yerushalayim. This is somebody else. Says the Gemara, Omer Shimon Pazi. So there's an idea of marking the kvarim so that kohanim don't walk over it with truma, and if they do, they have to burn it. So how do we know? How do you see this in the Torah? This is Yecheskel talking about in the future by Mechemes Gog Magog. So Klal Yisrael is going to take the enemy. It's like a victory lap. They're going to take all the bodies of the enemies and pile them up and bury them. So it says, as people are going through and they find a body of an enemy, they put some sort of marker, they put a flag, here's a body. Then later on, the trucks come through and gather the bodies, they know where to gather it. So you see the idea of marking bodies. You're telling me this is a Doiraisa. So what happened from the time the Torah was given all the way to Yecheskel? What? We didn't know it. Says Gemara, this is a famous Gemara. Now what? There's another halach that Yecheskel was mechadish. And the Gemara is going to have the same question. And until Yecheskel came around, what happened? So whatever the answer to that is going to be the answer to our question. It says, Kol ben nechor erel leiv ve'erel basar. Erel leiv is somebody that's a kaifer. He has a problem with his heart. He doesn't believe. Ve'erel basar means a person who doesn't have a bris milah. Why? Because his brothers, they got a bris milah and they died. He had two brothers like that. So he can't get he's not a poisheya, but he pasha can't get a bris milah, but he's a kayan. He cannot perform the avodah in the Beis HaMikdash. Lo yavel mikdashi. And who's mechadish this? Yecheskel is a pasuk Yecheskel. Mikamei delays Yecheskel man Omar. And who told you? And before, from Moshe Rabbeinu to Yecheskel, what happened? Ella, we must say Gemara Gemirla is the tradition. And Yecheskel put it in. Gemara Gemirla, it's a known halacha. They should make a tziyun on a cave. Now the Gemara gives many different places that we could learn from. Not that there's a machlokes, this explains. Each one felt that we could learn from a different pasuk. But Tamei Yikra, a Metzayra screams out, I'm Tamei. So you must scream out and warn people, here's Tuma. Tuma Kayer Loi, Vaimeris, Loi Proish, the Tuma screams out and says, be careful, stay away from here. Tuma Kayer Loi, Vaimeris, Loi Proish, stay away. Says Gemara, the word Tamei is for something else, but Tamei Yikra, we had this many times in Shas. If a person has a tzara, a person has a machla. A lot of people, I don't know where they get it from, they're very secretive. They have a machla, they don't tell anybody. I heard of a story, mamish, somebody I know. Like only a few days before he's nifter, he told his wife, oh, by the way, I have the machla, and he was nifter. Like he didn't even tell his wife. He said that the Levi was such a tzanua, he didn't want his wife to be bitzar. Over here you see different. Person, I think the Gemara, I forgot where it was, the Gemara said about Rava maybe, that when he was sick, he waited like a day or two to see if he heals, and then he would tell people so that they daven for him. Here you see the idea, you tell people, so people daven, it's good. Why does Hashem make somebody sick? He wants people to daven. You have to tell them. Okay, so you see, that's where you see in the pasuk from Tamei Yikra. It says Gemara, Yikra. Why the double lashon? My Tamei twice. Shmas min otarti. You're right. We learn 2 limudim from each word. We learn a different limud. Abai Omer Malacha. Lifnei Evil, see the michshol. Don't have a stumbling block in front of somebody. So if you know of a dead person, put something on his caver, blue paint. Abba Omar, V'Omar soilu panu derech. Should pave the way, clear panu derech, clear the way, pave it, clear the way. Rav Chinan Omar, that's the same pasuk, just the continuation. Harimu michshol miderech hami. Lift up the stumbling block from the way. So you got to tell people that there's dead people. You should let them know what the way is. They should go. You should warn Klal Yisrael where this is tumah. Vashi Omar, ushmartem is mishmarti, asu mishmeres mishmarti. By Truma it says you should safeguard. You make a mishmeres, so you got to make a mishmeres to my Truma. Make an extra mishmeres. If you know of something, there's tumah, there's a body somewhere, let people know. Ravina Omar, v'sam derech areno biyesh Elohikim. What does that mean? Kol hasham or choisav. You take the sin, you make it a shin. Sham is a lashon of evaluation, of analyzing. You should always analyze your deeds. So if a person who analyzes what he does, zoicha v'roya b'ishu osay shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Says Rashi, arenu b'yesh Elohikim. Zeh hasham or choisav, a person who analyzes his ways. Hamechashiv hefsed mitzvah keneged schara. A person looks into the loss versus the gain. In other words, it's difficult to learn the daf. A person is sick. A person is extremely tired. He doesn't want to get up. When he gets up and learns the daf, then his schar is that much greater. It's all the cheshbon, says Rashi. Everything has a cheshbon. Uschar ve'eknev seida v'sham k'moy shamim. Okay. Says the Gemara, I want to tell you a beautiful story that I heard. I was very emotional to hear this story, the full story. You might have seen it now. It's going around from Rabbi Y.Y. Jacobson, but I'll share it with you. I said it over. Some people didn't like it. I love the story. A guy was in Uman, and he sees a guy, this individual right here. It's a Tapeus with a ponytail. He says, I got to strike a conversation with this guy. I got to figure this out. What is going on here? He walks over to him, starts schmoozing with him. The guy is not really telling him. So he puts him in a corner. He says, I need to know. No, tell me what's going on. So he says, I'll tell you. I mean, of course, Reb Y.Y. Jacobson says it in 8 minutes. I'm saying it in 1. I'm taking out parts that I believe ruin the story. I'm going to doctor the story a little. I'm not going to change the story. I'm just taking out some things that are not negea, really, and ruin it. But the bottom line of the story is, he says, I used to visit cancer patients. And I saw this young girl who barely had any hair. And they were talking about making a wig for her. And I noticed that my hair color, which is a very unique color, is the same as hers. And right then and there, I decided that I'm going to make a wig for this girl. The problem is, listen to this tzaddik. The problem is that his parents would have such chalisha sadas. Our son went mishuga. The son is growing a ponytail. So he went to Uman, even though he has a business with 4 employees, selling scooters. And he stayed in Uman for over 6 months. So they should never find out. I hope they don't find out by me showing this picture. But this is the tzaddik. This is a guy that makes a cheshbon. Made a cheshbon. The schar versus the oynesh. The schar, the hefsed. What am I going to gain by making this girl happy? What can I lose by maybe making my parents sad? And let me figure it out. I'm going to hide from them for 6 months. I thought it's a beautiful story. Story of chesed. Huh? Interesting. Zog the Gemara. Oh, why is this not recording? Stop. Okay. Yosef, it's not recording. I guess I could get rid of this guy now. Zog the Gemara. If you listen, like this tzaddik in Uman, if you figure out your ways, is going to save him. Shenemar v'sam derech, I'll take v'sam ela v'sham derech b'yesha areno b'yesha likim. Thank you. Listen to this story. Also, a gewaltige story. Rabbi Yani had a Talmud that used to ask him bomb kashas. Noam, you should listen to this. This is very important to you also. Very, very important to you. He used to ask him questions like you asked yesterday. B'shamsa the riglo lo'yavim actually. But when it was Yontif and many Yidden from Klal Yisrael would come, he wouldn't ask him. Why? He didn't want to embarrass his Rebbe. He made a cheshbon. If I ask him a question and I get him good, like Noam gets me, he's going to be embarrassed in public. You got to be careful. You have to make a cheshbon. Interesting that the Marshal learns very differently than I thought. He has his own little pshat. He says that on the regel, Rabbi Yana gave a very, very simple drasha for the Maratzim that come. Who comes on Yontif? All the Maratzim. So, says the Marshal, then this Talmud didn't have to come. He had nothing to gain for coming. It was nothing for him to ask. That's why he didn't ask questions. He didn't ask questions because he had nothing to gain. Says the Marshal, but the chiddush is that he came anyway. And that's the schar. The schar you get for coming. This is no get to everybody. You say, oh, why should I come to Daf? First of all, I know it better than the Magichir. I have an art scroll. Why am I coming? Or I remember anything. I don't know anything. You get schar for coming, says the Marshal. He says, Haboli ta'er misaynoiso. You come, just come. Somebody just wrote me an email. A guy that joined, a Yid, has zero background. Doesn't know the first thing. He doesn't know what Gemara means. He doesn't know why it starts on Beis and not on Aleph. He doesn't know anything. But just for coming, misaynoiso, they help you out. And that's why he got tzchar. He made a cheshbon. Let me come anyway.
Shouldn't ask kashas on Sunday.
Don't ask kashas on Sunday. Don't ask kashas on Motzei Shabbos. Certain days don't ask. And on days that I didn't sleep a lot, don't. You know what? Don't ask questions at all. Daf Yomi Beis, Kari Alei v'sham derech harenu v'yesha likim. So Rav Yanai called out on this Talmud. Hashem is going to pay him back nicely for not embarrassing me in public, or according to Marshal, for just coming. Sponsored by Moshe Horn and Woody Wyman as a schos for Mordy Moskovitz. He should have a schos and an honor of Reb Eli for all that he does. So the Gemara, Torah Banon, brand new sugya mitzayin loyal kizayis min hameis v'loyal letzim kisoira. If what's this?
Sponsored by Moshe Horn.
Who's that? I got it. Okay, I hear. He figured it out himself for Moshe Horn. Okay, he once sent me an email, Moshe Horn, 2 months ago. I put it on my desk. I told Noam yesterday, please take this email, do something with it. Noam Fix just opened up the email. He says, that's the guy that's sponsored. Okay, so now we understand. He figured it out himself. Baruch Hashem. Okay. Shkoyach. Everything. Now I understand everything. I understand a lot more now. So thank you, Moshe Horn and Woody Wyman. We're talking about putting paint. So if you have a dead person that's a kazayis, there's only kazayis, you don't have to put paint. Why not? We'll see in a second. It's interesting. Today's Tu B'Shvat, and we're mentioning a few concepts of Tu B'Shvat. Soira is one of the Shivas Haminim, barley. If there's a bone fragment the size of barley, you don't have to paint. Oil means if there's a body in a room, everything within that room becomes tameh. Tuma spreads out. Imagine it as like an infectious disease. If it's within this room, it spreads to the entire room. So here's a little bit of a picture. Here is a skeleton. If you have any part that's marked like this, just the ugoilas, the skull, or just the spine, or just 2 large bones from the leg, that is enough to be metama. So for that, you would have to mark it. Let's see it inside. Shidra, which is the spine, which is the blue. Valagugoilas, which is the red, the skull. Al roiv binyan, that's the green, that's 2 large bones, which is most of the height of the body. Val roiv 51%. Val roiv minyan ameis, And if you take the number of bones, most of the number. If it's 100%, everybody knows there's a cave here, you don't have to mark it. If you don't know, there's some sort of rumor that there's a grave here, you should mark it. What does that mean? If you have tree branches hanging over, we're going to see in a second, or stones hanging over, you have to be mitzayim, you have to mark it. Beis pras is, we're going to see in a second, don't just put a demarcation there, because then people are going to go home and have to burn their truma when they don't have to. And that's a problem. Don't distance the marker too far. Put it right there so that people know. But you don't want to ruin Eretz Yisrael. You don't have places where you can't walk in Eretz Yisrael. As the Gemara, we just said that a kazais, a small part of the dead person, doesn't create tumas oil. It says kazais men ameis. It is metama. Very interesting chiddush. We're talking about the size of an olive. Exactly. The soif mechsa chaser. What's going to happen in a week? It's going to shrivel up. It's going to be less. And in a week from now, it's not going to create tumah. Says the Gemara, mutav yisrifu of truma of kachim lefisha v'yisrifu of loylam. You don't want to make a marker that forever and ever you can't carry truma there. And if you do, you're going to have to burn it. And you're burning for no reason because now it's less than a kazais. So today, it's a kazais, but tomorrow it won't be. So what about all the people that walk over it today? That's not such an issue because today most people know that they just buried somebody there. The bigger issue is tomorrow, a year from now, 100 years from now. You don't want people burning for no reason. Schacha is a price. Schacha is ilon ha-mesach al haaretz. You have a person under the tree, buried. So the branches are also, that's oil ha-meis. Price, avanim price, the same thing with stones. Beis ha-pras. What is the Beis ha-pras? The famous Beis ha-pras. Because it's not a chorish, it's a kever Arya, it's a Beis ha-pras. If somebody plows over a grave, so now, even if they're bones, they're fragmented into very, very small pieces. Here we go. Let's say here's a plowed field, and there's a grave here. So we don't know where the parts went. They flew around. The tractor went and spun it everywhere. So he has 100 amma, which is about 200 feet by 200 feet, where he has to be careful because if he touches one of the fragments, he becomes tamei. A fragment, as we're going to see, does not create oil. It's not big enough. As the Gemara Beis ha-pras mitama ba'oil, does it create oil? Let's see if Noam remembers. What's my picture of a person getting down and blowing the Beis ha-pras? MJ. You see, this is from years ago. This is the best picture of a frum guy that I was able to find on the internet, getting down on all four and blowing his way through a Beis ha-pras. So if he has to walk 200 feet, you see, why am I asking? Because yes, it's a little weird and it's sports and whatever, but people remember it. Getting down on all four. Imagine getting down on all four and just blowing your way. I mean, I can't even imagine it. Putting a straw in your mouth and crawling 200 feet, 100 amma. I really looked for a picture. I really couldn't find anything good. This is MJ blowing his way through. He's not MJ. He's wearing a yarmulke, he has tchelas, somebody else. So, first of all, Rav Yehuda says it's not a problem, it doesn't create tumah, you just blow your way through. Because if there's a real caver, you can't blow anything, there's a dead person under the ground. There's a way out of it. And there's another chiddush. Ula says, if a lot of people step through it already many, many times, then it's okay anyway. There's no bones left. Omer Papa, so we have a kasha. Could you go? Does it create tumah? Does it not create tumah? Like kasha. Very, very big difference. If a grave was lost in here somewhere, I just keep on thinking about this. I know when I was a kid, I went to a camp, a sleepaway camp in Kamemiot, and there was a grave under a tree by the road. I had no idea what it is. I kept on seeing it over and over. It was not a Beis HaKvaros. Somebody dropped the body there once upon a time and buried it, and they made a road. The road actually touched the grave, and there was a tree right there. And it all fits into this sugya here. There's a body somewhere here. We don't know where. You're not allowed to walk here. What if you're stepping over the body? But if you plowed the body, you plowed it, now it's into small fragments, now all you need to do is blow it. Is it actually called the Beis HaPras? The other thing is called the Beis HaPras. When it's lost, there's 3 Beis HaPras. There's 3. If the grave was lost, it was plowed. And if you cry there, the Gemara explains what that is. Meaning, this is the handover spot. You carry a body from the city all the way to this field, then the Chaver Kadisha or the next city, they take over, they take it. So everybody cries there. That's when, you put the body in, when you say goodbye to the body, it's very painful. That's why everybody cries. The time am I. So why is it Tameh? Omar Avimi Mishum Yeush Bailim Noguba. I literally started laughing / crying when I read this. It says Dei Boichem, it makes you cry. I couldn't believe it. In those days, there's no refrigeration. So they schlep a body from point A to point B. Says Rashi, it was so far and so distant that the body would decompose. And many times, body parts would fall off the body. We don't understand these things. We don't understand. Body parts would fall off. So at this handoff spot, the guy's hand fell off. The Chaver Kadisha says, family, take care of it. The family thinks to themselves, the Chaver Kadisha is going to take it. They move away. And then you have a finger, you have a digit, something falls off over there. Crazy stuff. Says Gemara, if it's a field that it was plowed through, it doesn't need any markation. If you find a field that's marked up, when you do a mativa, you don't know what's going on. By the way, the word ilanos, trees, I searched this morning. And it happens not that often in Shas, but only 5 times since the beginning of Shas, and today's Rosh Hashanah ilanos. I just thought it was interesting. We have Soira, we have Kazayas, we have ilanos on this page. Stam. I'm not super excited about it. Wow, Hashgacha brothers, just pointing it out. If there's trees, how did the guy get a tree there? He had to plow up the field and plant a tree. And if there's no trees, they ask, okay, so maybe he planted trees before. Okay, fine. But if there's no trees, then there's a rumor going on, then there's a cave or somewhere. Only an elder or somebody that knows halachas and is trying really hard to get the city going well, he could decide whether or not there's a caver. But at the end of the day, you see that you do mark up kvarim. Here, you see from here, they used to mark up the caver. Says Gemara, what happened was there was a markation because a caver was lost. But there's a chashash, there's a concern that maybe later on somebody went ahead and plowed up the field. So therefore, if there's no trees, don't worry about it. And if there is trees, then they plowed up the field. Maybe, who told you? Maybe the caver is on the inside. On the Migavai is in, Mibrai is on the outside. So as the Gemara, maybe the Ilanis are on the inside and the caver is on the outside. That can be. The trees are on the edge of the field, so everything has to be from the inside. The caver is on the inside, not on the outside. Maybe the tumah is on the inside and the trees are on the outside. So basically, there's trees everywhere. So it can't be that the tumah is inside, away from the trees. They're everywhere. The trees are everywhere. So we're going to finish here. At the end of the day, we said that you can't mark the tree too far, the caver too far away from where the caver is. So if there's a demarcation, somebody put a marker right there by the tree, so you know the caver is right there by the tree. It's not, you can't say, well, maybe it's 20 feet away. You're not supposed to mark it 20 feet away. You're supposed to mark it right there. Have a wonderful day.